is quite close to be involved. So good news.
In terms of maybe a longer term, Zinchenko and Odegaard, where are they at? Because I know things change quite quickly, don't they?
Alex probably after the international break, if everything goes well, is progressing really well. And Martin, very difficult because I expected to still with the boot and a lot of things, and he's working so hard and he's feeling good and he's pushing it. So difficult to give a timeline.
Last week before the Leicester game, you told us that you'd written you got the players to write lots of words ahead of the Leicester game to make sure they were focused and there were no slip-ups. I wonder how much you've had to reinforce that, because it's another game off another big week where you simply can't afford to drop any points, can you?
Yeah, we know the significance of the match, the difficulty of the match. Obviously, last week it was proven the tough schedule that we have, and that any opponent can cause you problems. And even when you think that the game is under control, the game can get out of your hands immediately. So it was a good thing probably to happen the way it ended up. And we know the quality of Southampton, in my opinion, a team that is extremely well coached, that they have a very clear philosophy. They've been very unlikely, not to have many more points, because there were moments in the game that they were far better than the opponent. And in some moments they got the results away from them, and it will be very tough.
And in terms of their manager, he's clearly got a very strong vision and he doesn't want to come away from that vision. When you arrived, you knew what you wanted your team to look like, and you stuck by it through really tough times. And I guess it's paid off for you, and sometimes it will pay off in the end. It's a hard balancing act, isn't it?
Yeah, but I love that kind of behavior. At the end, you have to do what you feel, and he's proven that his philosophy is extremely successful. What he did with Swansea, what he did with Southampton. I think last year there were 25 games unbeaten. It was a joy to play that towards that team play. The same with Swansea, and that's it. And for what I've seen, they deserve much more than what they have already. But this is the Premier League, and the small details are so important to get results.
Just finally, Ramsdale is back. I wondered if you'd spoken to him at all since his move.
Yeah, obviously I called him straight away after I got the news at the end, and he was really happy. He's a player that we loved a lot, that very charismatic, that he really put his fingerprints here at the club in the way that he was, and it will be very good to see him.
Thank you.
Viking Premier League.
Yeah, good afternoon. I'd like to ask about the unbeaten run this season in your competitions and important Premier League, because you are just one of two teams alongside City who remain unbeaten. I know you had some really good words to say about your side after the win over PSG as well. How important is that unbeaten run in terms of the momentum and confidence of your side? And do you feel that your team are becoming this sort of fearless side who can take on any team and take on any challenge?
Well, that's what we are trying to do. Obviously, we had a really difficult fixture list after the international break. On top of that, a lot of unpredictable things happened in terms of injuries and players not being available. But we adapted. We look forward. I think we competed really well in all games. For sure, there are aspects that we have to still improve, but we are showing a lot of consistency, a lot of adaptability in the way that we can play and win games. And I think these are all very positive signs, but it's very early in the season still.
You also, after the PSG game, praised Kai Havertz for obvious reasons. I mean, tomorrow, if he plays, which we assume he will, he'll make his 200th appearance in English football. He's obviously scored 6 goals, I think, in his last 6 home games. So why do you think we're seeing that consistency from him and that sort of understanding of his role on the pitch?
First of all, because he's so good, because he wants it so much, and because he's surrounded by great players around him. And the fact that obviously he's gone through some difficult moments, I think he's just made him a better player and a better person, I think.
And finally for me, tomorrow if you win, Arsenal will become just the second club after Manchester United to secure 400 home wins in the Premier League. I just wondered, from your point of view, what does the Emirates Stadium mean to you and managing in that sort of arena?
Huge privilege. Every time I'm sitting there and I'm surrounded by the players, our supporters, and being part of that incredible atmosphere. It makes me proud that we have built something really special here that our people feel proud of, that the players enjoy what they do, and hopefully we can continue to win a lot of football matches.
Ian Talksport.
Hi Mikel, how are you?
I am good, thank you.
We saw last week that it might not be always the top teams where Arsenal need to be careful and play the best to win games. Sometimes it is the teams that you would, in inverted commas, sometimes underestimate, like Leicester, like Southampton. So how much more important is your team talk before you go out tomorrow than if you were to go out against someone like Man City or Man United, where it's probably done for you?
Well, I don't think it's very needed at this level, because we know the quality and the opposition that we face every week in the Premier League, and they have seen in the last 2 days what they do, what we have to do against them to earn the right to play, and they are very aware that it's going to be a really tough match.
You mentioned Russell Martin's philosophy. Can it be also the downfall of a manager not to be able to adapt? I mean, you've certainly adapted. I think Arsenal don't play just one style of football, one philosophy of football.
I don't know, every manager had a choice to do that. What I can tell you that the results that he's proven are there. It's clear, very clear identity, very clear way of playing, and very successful. So it's up to the manager. What I can say, watching it, analyzing it, that they are really good and that he's really good.
Last one from me. You're unbeaten, City are unbeaten, Liverpool are top. Is it already too early, or is it all right to say this is just a 3-race title?
Super early. I think for me, we just started it. You can feel already the tension in every match, the importance of every match. But we are just in early October, so imagine.
George, BBC.
Mikel, just to go back to Aaron Ramsdale, he had such a bond with the supporters. It was very impressive for you that season you signed him. Just as a manager, how hard is it to let someone go when you decide it's time to move on?
Yeah, it is personal, because I was very grateful for what he did. When we signed in, obviously, there was a lot of noise around him. We helped him to create the environment that he needed, because we believed in his potential. He showed it. He won the respect, admiration of all of us. And then the circumstances changed, because this is elite sport and can happen. And then it was difficult to deal with that situation in a natural way. And we decided to part ways, and hopefully he's grateful as well.
Just in terms of Odegaard and the injury, I just wondered how you think the team's evolved without him, because Trossard seems to be playing really well lately. So can you just give us a little appraisal, really, of how the team's done without your captain?
We had to be different, I think the impact that Martin has in everything that we do, it was too big to try to replicate it with one player, and we tried to do it in a different way, adapting a few things and playing in players' qualities, players that can play in spaces, positions, and with the right chemistry around them. And maybe it took a game or two, and then everything started to flow a bit better. But I think we find a way. But we're still missing him a lot, because he's one of the most important players for us.
And just on this unbeaten run, you're on 15 games now. Just what have you made of Saliba and Gabriel and their partnership? Because it just keeps getting stronger and stronger, it seems, every week.
Yeah, obviously they are incredibly important for us, but I think the team has built that consistency and that capacity to win matches, because the 11 players are so committed in every phase of play, and they have this hunger and desire to compete for every ball.
Stephen?
Yeah, hi, everyone's talking about this brilliant unbeaten run, brilliant run of form you're on. Leicester showed last weekend these games aren't always straightforward. Does that say how big the test it is against Southampton?
Yeah, every 3 days we have an unbelievable test. 3 days ago it was Paris. Before that it was Leicester. 2 completely different games, opponents, expectations, ways of playing, and adapt to that. We try to be ourselves, and certainly with the same ambition and determination to win the game.
Jordan?
Okay, just go back to Martin. Obviously, I was a bit concerned about the creativity when he was out, but Trossard and Havertz playing more of a front two. Is that something that you're considered switching the system like that, or is that just being enforced?
Yeah, especially because I think we have to put players in positions and qualities that they can feel it, that they are in their strengths, and try to hide our weaknesses as much as possible. So without Martin, we have other things that we cannot do, but as well we are a bigger threat in other areas, and we have to make the most out of that.
Has it made you more direct, do you think?
Sorry?
Has it made you more direct?
In certain games, yes, but I don't think it was because of Martin, more because of the behavior of the opposition.
And just on Kai, you've always spoken about, you might not have a 30-plus goal striker in the squad, that it's about sharing the load. He's got 6 in his last 6 at home. You can see the confidence in him now. Do you think that he could potentially be that player that does get 20-odd goals a season?
He certainly has all the qualities, and he certainly has the ambition to do that. At the end, scoring goals sometimes are very small details, and a lot of things have to go for you. But he's got it, and his mindset has changed a lot in regards to that, and he certainly has the ability to do it, in my opinion.
Okay, last couple in the live, Kaya.
Hi, Mikel. Last international break, you lost Martin and some important players. Just wondering, yeah, exactly. This time, you're sending players off to the international break. You worried about that kind of stuff happening again?
Yeah, I prefer not to watch the game, not listen to nothing, and just pray that everybody is going to be fine, because the last one, it was a really difficult one to handle in many ways.
Do you think it's a bad idea to have these? There's so many international breaks in this first part of the season. It feels like every time we get going, until we get the momentum going, then international break just comes and stops that. What are your thoughts on that?
It's been like this for years. We're not going to change that. It's part of the duties that they have, all the European teams, South Americans as well, is the same thing. But yeah, we have to adapt to that and hopefully be healthy.
Sir Alex used to have a thing where maybe if players were sort of on the verge of injury, maybe encourage them to not go off just because he's trying to achieve big things at club level. I wonder if you ever had a similar conversation with any of your players before they go off?
Well, first of all, the players have to be healthy to go to the national teams. But when they are, all of them, when I spoke to them, they all want to be part of that. And it's normal. It's a huge privilege to represent your country. They all want to be involved. They all have their role. They don't want to lose it. And you have to understand that as well.
Charles?
Okay, I just wanted to ask about Thomas. He started every single game this season, including 2 for Gaia during the international break. He finished last season, started 5 in a row. After such a difficult time for him injury-wise last season, for the majority of it, how pleasing is it to see him fit, healthy, and available all the time right now? It must be a real boost.
Yeah, it's very important. He's a massive player for us. He's shown that week in, week out. He's started the season really well, really fit. The way he came back already post-holidays, he was probably in the best condition that he's been. So that was really helpful as well. And now he needs to continue to do that. We have managed certain minutes of him in the right way, and the team is doing that. And then he's doing everything he can as well to be in the best physical condition.
I thought Tuesday was arguably his best performance this season on the ball, but off it as well. He just looked very, very fit, very strong. I mean, do you think we're now seeing him back towards his best? Because I think there was a little thought that maybe we wouldn't see him back to that sort of level again because of the injury issues.
It's about consistency, and obviously when you change certain habits and you want more consistency, things that doesn't happen overnight. And if in 2-3 weeks doesn't happen, you throw the towel, you're going to waste the next 2-3 years of your career. And he's doing everything he can to be in that. I think his work ethic has been better than ever. I think defensively has been really solid. And with the ball, he had moments. And the other day probably was his most complete performance, because he gave us everything that we want from him, and he can deliver that.
Just lastly on that, it's his final year of his contract, obviously. Now you've added Mikel to the squad, so there's extra competition there. Now, is there a case of him almost kind of playing for his future now at the club over the next 12 months or so?
We're playing to find our best version and to be the most competitive team that we can be, and try to win every single game.
Okay, guys, that finishes the live.